Welcome back to Tech Dudes Weekly. I'm Brian.
I'm Dave.
And we're going to kind of continue down the path of our WWDC coverage. We broke these up into different videos. We have noticed a lot of folks out there are cramming everything from WWDC into a 15-minute video. We figured we'd spend a little bit more time and break them up. So, if you have an interest in iPad OS or just iOS, you'll see separate videos from us on that. And this one here, we're going to dive into what changed with the Mac hardware. Because normally that's not I wouldn't say that's a big thing they introduce at WWDC on a regular basis. Yeah. But this time they did. They had a couple announcements I think are worth talking about and, how that affects the entire lineup.
Yeah, I think this is the second or third time in all the WWDCs they've actually gave this amount of hardware on there. So yeah. It was interesting.
It's funny. There's, I think there was even some folks thinking there would be more hardware, because there was a few things they neglected to bring up, and we'll go through those in a minute. So I guess the big thing that was introduced was the move to M2. So the next iteration in Apple Silicon, moving beyond the M1 series and introducing the base M2. So there was no M2 Pro, M2 Max, Ultra, and whatever the next thing is going to be. Just simply the M2, and it's being compared directly to the M1. I think we saw, was it roughly about a 20%?
18 to 20, then there's some rough numbers around 35, but that's using Apple's industry, and I'm air quoting hard here because it's how they do their testing.
Right, yeah. So, it's, they're trying to show there is improvement. So, because they're still selling the M1 MacBook Air on the website, and that's still coming in at that $999, so just under $1,000 price. And they're introducing the new MacBook Air with there's considerable updates to the screen and stuff like that, but let's talk just M2. That one's being introduced at $1,199, so it is a $200 upgrade to go to the new M2. It is a different chassis. They did slim the bezels. I believe it's a 13.6-inch screen, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's 0.44 millimeters thick. They took the wedge out.
So it's it's going to look more similar to the aluminum, the unibody, from the MacBook Pros that have been out there.
Yep.
But again, slimmed it down. There is a notch for all you wondering. Yes, there's a notch. I don't know. Get over it.
It's Notchgate 2022.
It's going to be a notch for a while. But again, $200 upgrade does give you about a 20% lift in power, whether you need it or not. I think it's still out there whether or not the battery it's roughly going to be about the same. You're going to get a day life of battery depending on what you're doing. So it's definitely workload dependent. But, let's just say general surfing the web, email, things like that, maybe an occasional, video here or there. You'll probably get a day out of the battery.
Yeah, and there's only two variants. There's an 8-core CPU on both sides, and the main difference between these two is actually the GPU. 8-core on the $1,199 version. What is it? $1,499. No, starts at $1,499 for the 10-core GPU with a 0.5 terabyte of RAM. The standard one, which is 8-core GPU with 256 gig of storage on those, and $1,200 versus $1,500.
Yeah, it's funny when you look at that lineup there for just again comparing the MacBook Airs, and we'll get to there's another iteration here we need to discuss.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, $200 upgrade. I'm not, is the power worth it? Yeah, probably. You still have to be, I guess, not a prosumer at this point. Because that otherwise you should be buying a MacBook Pro.
Yep.
But it's slimmer design. I think there's only a couple of Thunderbolt 3 ports, or are they Thunderbolt 4?
No, they're Thunderbolt 3 from what I can see. There's two Thunderbolt / USB 4 ports, which everything points to Thunderbolt 3 at this point. Now, again, who knows where they're going to try to take this. Also, there is a difference in charging.
Oh, the MagSafe. Yeah.
So there's MagSafe. It's USB-C, but remember we did that video for that leak about the 2-port 35-watt charger on a few videos ago?
Yep.
Well, that charger now exists and comes as one of the options with the Air.
Is that an upgrade?
That's an upgrade, semi-upgrade. But if you get the standard, the $1,200 one, that doesn't come with it. It's an upgrade you have to pay for. So
it's probably another $30 to $50 somewhere in there.
Somewhere, but if you get the with the 10-core GPU, it actually defaults to that. But it's not a fast charge.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You need a 67 watt to get the fast charge capabilities. Yeah. Which is another charger.
I guess that'll be to each their own, type of thing. that wouldn't drive the needle for me at all, probably, because I'll be honest, I typically buy Anchor products when I
Same here.
So I mean that's really not going to move the needle. So if Anchor makes it a little bit cheaper, I'd probably go with them.
Oh, I used to be a hardcore. If it wasn't an Apple accessory, it wasn't going to come in my house. But Anchor's proved themselves along with maybe a couple others.
Yeah. Just as a side note, I know this is off topic, but Anchor did pass $1 billion valuation yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Sort of interesting.
I think we helped that.
Yeah, we probably did along the way at $12 at a time.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But anyway, so back to the MacBook Air, decent upgrade. The funny thing is that I have a MacBook 14-inch, the Pro, that I bought back probably in February of this year.
Yeah, a few months ago.
And it was on sale. Nice. Normally it's just under $2,000. I got it for $1,749 from Best Buy, which you see it advertised at that rate, or $1,799 on a regular basis. So I took the specs for that, which is a 0.5 terabyte of SSD, 16 gigs of RAM, to try to get as close as possible. I know there's a port difference and everything else. I mean, I have the SD reader and all that. But long story short, it's within $100, or it's actually within $50 of what I paid.
Yeah.
And you're not getting the ports, and you're getting a smaller screen. And mine's an M1 Pro, which I know they've neglected to really butt the M2 against it. I'm guessing we're pretty close. So I don't know. Maybe is it worth it? I don't know. It's a sleek design. I like the new matte black color.
Oh yeah, what was it called? The Starlight, I think is what it's called now.
There's
Midnight. Sorry.
There's Midnight and Starlight. I think Starlight's the silver.
Yeah, Starlight's the new gold color flavor.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. God forbid we call it gold. But anyway, they have a couple different colors. So it's going to depend on what you're using it for, the workload, and whether or not you care about it being a few ounces lighter than the other.
And it only maxes out at 24 gig of memory.
Right, which is still more than the
old
M1. That only goes to 16.
Yep.
But
that's just an odd number to me.
I have yet to push mine at the 16 mark anyway.
I did the other day on my Mini when I was doing 4K video.
Okay.
But I had like 42 tabs of Chrome open at the same time, so...
That alone should bring anything to its knees. Some Cray supercomputer probably can't run Chrome at 42 tabs. So, again, M2... that's the next iteration. I'm sure by the end of the year we'll see the M2 Pro, Max, Ultra. I mean, they're going to do a lot more of that. They did not bring up a Mac Mini. We were kind of expecting that to be at an M2.
Yeah, because I want the little thin version everybody keeps doing the prototype pictures of.
I'm still guessing we'll see that by end of the year. I don't see why they wouldn't do that, especially in Q4, with the holiday seasons.
Yep.
But the one thing they did introduce, and I can bring it up on the screen here real fast, is they reintroduced the MacBook Pro 13-inch.
I still can't figure out why they did this.
So nothing changed to the chassis.
Nope.
Including the touch bar still there. And Apple, I saw introducing that as for everybody who still loves the touch bar.
No.
All three of you. I don't know who that is. I'm not going to say anything more about the touch bar.
It's got to be Apple employees. That's all I think about.
Mom told me if you can't say something nice. So moving on. It's a MacBook Pro 13-inch. Same unibody chassis. Nothing's changed there at all. The bezels are all still the same.
Yep.
The big difference is that it's an M2.
Yeah, I don't understand why they did this. There's rumors out there talking about the only reason they did it was either one, again, because the touch bar is everybody's favorite thing, is the reason they brought it back, or two, they had so much stock in this chassis left. They wanted to use it up.
Do something with it.
Yeah.
What did they introduce the price on that? I don't remember.
I don't think so. I'm gonna double check to see.
I'm guessing it's probably about the same as it was before, within $100.
MacBook Pro 13-inch Pro. Starts at $1299.
Okay, so you can $1199 yourself into a MacBook Air with the updated screen, the smaller bezels, or you can get one with the touch bar with a few more ports. And an identical chassis that's been out for years.
Yeah, and it's an 8-core CPU with a 10-core GPU, so exactly the same as the upgraded version of the Air.
Now, you do lose 0.6 on the screen, because this is a 13-inch as opposed to the MacBook Air is now 13.6.
How will I ever survive?
Yes, so I don't know. This one seems like an orphan product to me.
Yeah.
I would love to know in the comments, again, I hope we probably should have said it before, please subscribe. But, add in the comments, if you see worth in the Pro 13, to me it seems like an odd duck in the lineup. I don't know. If I were spending this kind of money, I would either be buying the base M2 Air, just because that fits decent price point, I think, for the amount of power you're getting. But if I were upgrading the M2 Air at all, I'd be looking at a 14-inch Pro.
So they limited this one to 24 gigs. So that is a limitation of the M2.
Yep.
Can't go above 24 gig, period. And one loosely configured around what your MacBook Pro is right now is still $1699.
Got it.
So we're on par price-wise between this and a MacBook Air.
Yeah, the only other thing I will mention, too, is that for all of those of you that have multiple monitors sitting on your desk, the M2 supports one external display.
Correct.
That's it. Now, you can get around that with software. Pluggable has a couple of docking stations that let you get by it with software.
Yep.
To me, that's a workaround that either you're willing to take the screen refresh hits and stuff like that. But if you want to have a true or multi, display desk, you're looking at the 14-inch or the 16-inch Pro at this point.
Well, for the price,
or a Mac Mini.
Yeah, for the price point though, I don't see where this fits in, because even your MacBook Pro, your 14-inch with the is yours Pro Max or just Pro chip in yours? I can't remember.
It's a Pro chip. Yeah.
That alone, along with the price point, you're within $50 when it's on sale of having that MacBook versus the M2.
Yeah.
What bothers me a little bit, and granted, there's got to be innovation. I get that. I understand what they're trying to do. But they're falling into the same trap that Intel with the TikTok methodology of, we'll make a good one here on the first try. We'll make a slight update to the next one just to get a product out for the next year. Then we may innovate on the third year at that point. I don't know. This is like an iPhone and an iPhone S.
Well, when we looked at this all coming out a couple of years ago when Apple Silicon was introduced, that was revolutionary.
Yep.
Moving from Intel to Apple Silicon, ARM-based, revolutionary, absolutely. This, it's an iteration at best, and I think, again, the MacBook Pro 13 makes it a weird lineup a little bit. I see where the Air is placed. I'll be interested to see how fast they come out with the M2 Pro, Max, Ultra. Those two will speak volumes. They still need to update the Pro desktop.
Yes.
So if they do that, maybe that's where the Ultra is going to fit, because it's got to be something faster than the current Mac Mini Studio.
Correct.
So the Mac Mini Studio is the Ultra chip on an M1. So does that mean the Mac Pro desktop is going to be an M2 at an Ultra level?
But if they do, they've got to change the architecture because they limited the memory count.
Correct. Yep.
Because you can get up to, I think, 96 or 128 gig in the Ultra Max.
Right. I mean, they're stitching a bunch of, Maxes together. So chances are that that's not going to be a limitation issue when that comes out.
Yeah.
But still, it's an interesting lineup nonetheless. So we did want to cover the M2. I can't think of anything else that just stood out to me.
No, again, time's going to tell what this is. I mean, we love Apple, but I don't see any of this stuff as something I'm going to rush out and buy. I've never been an Air fan in my life, because if I've got my iPad, if I want to travel for that, I put, like Brian's got over here, Magic Keyboard on it, and I'm good. My MacBook or my Mini stays at home, and I've got my entire work suite across the board. So,
especially since they updated multitasking. We talked about this in our previous video. Go back and watch that if you have interest in it. But with multitasking being closer to a desktop,
yeah,
the iPad to me is now the low-end device that I can take on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And at home, I want to outfit a Mac Studio or a high-end Mac Mini if they come out with an M2 version of it.
Yep.
Something like that. And I may move away from a MacBook altogether. My portable being the iPad, and my anchor at home being the.
I want to see where they take the Mini outside of the Studio. Mm-hmm. The Studio is one thing. I think the Studio is. I don't know. I want to see the next iteration of that. That's going to give me more ideas where they're trying to go with it.
I'll be honest. I want an M2 Pro Mac Mini at a $1,500 price point.
Oh yeah.
16 gigs of RAM, native. Nothing expandability to go beyond that if I want to. Granted, you're not going to be able to expand it now because it's SoC, but at least having the option to buy it at the time.
Yeah.
But I think $1,500 with an M2 Pro and a Mac Mini, especially if they update the case to make it a little bit more modern.
Well, and if they put true Thunderbolt on there.
Yeah.
So, and then I get to pick my monitor. I don't like the new studio monitor. We did a video on that as well. There's a lot other better monitors associated with that. It gives me, I don't have to stay in the whole Apple ecosystem to get what I want.
No, I like the monitor minus the webcam. I will throw that out there. I like
Correct.
the monitor minus the webcam if it wasn't priced where it was.
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
And we talked about that. The M8 from Samsung, you know, we're going off topic a little bit, but the M8 of Samsung.
Which we did a video on.
Yeah, with the better shameless plug. You know, that one was, what was it, $699, I think it was. It's 32-inch, similar specs, better webcam. You know, it even comes in the Apple colors, which I can't believe they're not being sued for, but whatever. I'm not a lawyer. Yeah, so I think there's considerable number of things out there that you can mix and mash outside the Apple ecosystem to get what you want.
Yep.
But still be based in Mac OS, iOS, or everything that you're comfortable in. You know, the watch, which we'll have a follow-up video on as well.
It may be 2 minutes, but yeah, we'll have one.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. So again, M2, it's here. We're going to see more iterations on it, I'm sure, as the year goes on. We'd love to hear in the comments if you think you're going to buy one, which one you're going to buy, you know, what type of workloads you're going to run on it. So those are all things that, you know, we would love to hear. Love our subscribers to join us and you know, and join a conversation. We do, every now and then, we do a Zoom-like call as well, and you'll see that in some of our other videos. We're in the studio today, but on those Zoom calls, we encourage folks that want to join us for a call. We'd love to patch them in and, you know, join us for the conversation.
Yeah, and you'll see over time, studio is going to change. So this is iterative for us. And if you've got suggestions, please let us know in the comments down below. But also let us know if you're going to buy some of the new Apple products. Let us know what you think about them when you get them. We've had subscribers come back and give us a mini review like the M8, the one lady did on there, which was pretty cool. So we don't always get a chance to get our hands on stuff. So, but again, appreciate all the support so far. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. Hopefully, maybe by the end of summer, we'll see, and maybe 5,000 or 10,000 by the end of the year. So we appreciate all the help, and stay tuned for the next video. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.